Hey, welcome back to another episode of Venture Prints, a YouTube series where I've been going over some of the photos I've taken throughout my years of enjoying photography and giving some context and background to them here on YouTube that also corresponds with an Instagram post. So my goal was to try to do these shows twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, every week for the year of 2026 and just see what happens. I've been struggling with this idea of trying to get my Instagram going a little more or do something with these photos I have. I really enjoy taking photos. Been into photography since I was in high school, but I've always struggled with trying to like grow and get them out to more people. I've had some success throughout my time. I've had some people purchase images over the years, which you are everyone all these images I talk about on the eVenture prints are also on my Instagram, and they are for purchase if anyone's up for it. I also this last year had a photo that I'd entered into a juried art contest, ended up in the art museum on Mackinac Island all year and even won honorable mention. So this is a fun way I thought maybe to get some of my images out there. And I'm someone who's always been really nerdy on details of photos, like when exactly what they were and what's the background behind them. Whenever I take photos and I look back at them later, I'm just someone who looks back exactly to like where I was and what was going on that day. The photo sometimes is just a reminder of that I did something else behind the photo, I guess, if you wanna get too artsy. So let's get into it, this week's image. First off, it was taken here, well, let's go to this view. It was taken on Tuesday, January 11th, 2022 at 8:21 AM on, I cannot pronounce this necessarily, Cohola Road. Oh, no, sorry, that is I'm reading the wrong one. I apologize. Where was it? This one, where we got here? Got my notes. Shoot. Here we go. Sorry, taken on Tuesday. Oh no. Here we go. I apologize. It was taken on Friday, January 19th of 2022, and I don't have the time, which is weird. Usually I put the time when I've taken these at. So let's go back into my Google thing. Normally wouldn't like to do this, but I will do it this time. Usually, because I'm nerdy about that. I like the idea of like when exactly was the photo taken. You know what I mean? So let's see when this was taken. It was taken at 7:44 a.m. outside Flagstaff, Arizona. I was on a short morning walk. I mentioned this previously in an episode, but a lot of these photos I take are very early. I'm a big early. Wake up early, and especially so when I'm on the road and some of this stuff, and we're staying at hotels. I was staying with two buddies who don't wake up as early, and so for me, uh, it's just like that's when I would go on walks. And there's a lot of good photos in the morning because the sun rises and whatnot. It's funny because the reason I got confused in my notes is because it mentioned that it was not far from our Super 8. Well, we were staying at a Super 8 in this trip as well. So let's do this. Now let's go into. I started this on the last episode, and I like the idea of doing this, of giving even more context to where it is. So if you look at it here, Phoenix is down south, on the southern end of this photo. And so anyone that's been out west, you might know Phoenix and Flagstaff's I don't know what it was, an hour or so drive, something like that. Between an hour and 2 hour drive to Flagstaff. And on the trip, early on, we did a lot of side ventures. And as we got going, I got more tired and whatnot, and we did not do as many, but we did go up see the Grand Canyon, which had never seen before. So there you go. There's where the image was taken. That was a few hour drive to the Grand Canyon. That was a long day. Very fun, but that was a long day. And there you go, kind of in Flagstaff. Excuse me. And we were staying at a Super 8, which, as I've kind of said before, is pretty common for our trip when money was tight. Super 8s were great places to get a decent room, some free breakfast usually, but cheap. And so we were right on, I don't know if that's Route 66. It says RTE 60. Yeah, we were. I remember that. So we were kind of right close to Route 66. If you look at some of this stuff, these dots I was mentioned in the last episode are, from Google Pitches. Those are where I've taken photos. Some of these over here in the lower south end of this screenshot were from the hotel, the Super 8 hotel. So it wasn't a far place from the actual hotel that I took the photo. So yeah, the one down here on the southernmost little dot there is my hotel, and then I went on this little walk, and it was right by Route 66, ran right by this area. I remember that now. And so I tried to zoom in a little bit more here, but it didn't give me as much there. But it was basically taking a picture of this. Let me see if I can get it up. It was like a little, maybe not a mountain, but kind of. Uh, I mean, there's so many mountains in that area. It looks like it's a mountain, and it kind of, I think, was a mini mountain, I suppose. But yeah, there's that. Let's get into the actual image now. There we go. And so this was the actual image I took, 7:44 AM, right around Flagstaff, Arizona. I definitely like playing with stuff where you get the camera really down low. There was some snow still, so I thought that was cool. And then you get up here where there's no snow and there's a blue sky, the sun's coming up. And so you got that. I'd never been out west until one when I went to visit Montana, which I've talked about in some previous Venture Prince episodes, and other time on this trip when I went out traveling around the whole country. And it made sense that we didn't go out west when we were kids because you drive someplace and it's 4 hours to get to the Grand Canyon, and then you see it, then you drive 4 hours back to your hotel or something like that. And just varies a lot of driving when you're kids, and we didn't have internet on our phone back then or tablets or anything like that. So I get it, but as an adult, I really appreciated just driving around the desert, man, and going for hours and seeing nobody and just empty, empty space. So this was a lot of these photos were very new to me and very cool. So yeah, this is what we got here. Let me see if I can look a little more into. I thought there was a name for this kind of little mountain there, but I could be wrong. Let me do. It's funny how you different uh apps have different where you can look into. Yeah. So it was Elden Mountain, which is 9,298 feet at its peak. So not too bad, not too shabby. I did not obviously walk up all the way up there. Well, it's not obvious, but I didn't. So Elden Mountain, a little north of Flagstaff, a little north of downtown Flagstaff. Maybe get one more little go through the screenshot again and give you a little more context now that I've talked about it a little bit. But yeah, I wake up early and I do a lot of early morning hikes. That's going to be a thing when I go to Europe. I'll get to definitely get most of my photos on just early morning strolls, which is nice because they're usually less busy. So to give you a little more context, there was a Grand Canyon. And after this, we went to Four Corners, which was a very, very fun drive out to Four Corners, but but a rather underwhelming tourist spot, as most people have said, and probably can understand why. Because you're just out in the middle of nowhere. It's nothing special there. It's just these place where states meet in the middle of the desert. So there you go. As I said, all these photos are on my Instagram. These episodes are every Tuesday and Thursday. They're for 2026, and they correspond with an Instagram post of the same image. All those images are available for sale if anyone's interested. I love comments and anything. So anyone that's been watching, I really appreciate it. I know this is so early on, and I don't know what much to expect from it yet, but you gotta do what you gotta grinding and hustle culture and whatnot. I also do have a podcast that I've done for years. One of them being when I talk about driving around the country and doing comedy in all 50 states. Several seasons of me working and living on my dream island, one of my favorite places in the world, Mackinac Island, the last 3 summers, and that is the Venture Cast, which is where I came up with the Venture Prince. Those are on Spotify, iTunes, other apps as well, but Spotify and iTunes are the big ones. So if you wanna check those out, there's lots of free episodes. I also do have a Patreon where I have videos from what it was like being on the road, traveling around the country in a minivan, living and working on a horse-filled tourist island. If you like animals, I got tons of, horse videos from my time on Mackinac Island. So I have those on my Patreon page, eVentureCast, for the Patreon page as well. So all right. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a little more of a rhythm with them. And I like that I added the screenshot to give a little more context as far as where the pictures were taken. So that'll do it for this episode of Venture Prince. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for the watching those who did, and I will see you next episode.